Hi, folks. This is Richard Ricky Garcia. And as part of our effort for the Skywriters Making a Difference campaign, I thought it'd be fun to reminisce, record, and share stories from our drum corps days. I'm joined by Jay Smith, who marched Skywriters 1981 and 1983. Jay is also spearheading the restart of the Skywriters. So first, let me tell you, I marched with Jay as a baritone player in 1981, and I have one main memory of Jay, and that is for a significant part of the summer, Jay wore a neck brace. And it was just a bit odd because he's the only one wearing a neck brace, and it was a significant neck brace. Tell us a little bit about that, and if you can, and if you have a picture, Jay, that would be awesome if you could share it.
Well, honestly, uh, and truth be told, Rich, it was just the last 3.5 weeks of second tour. So, but I'd be glad. Let me show you this photo, and I'll just keep running with it. Okay. Um, Here we go. Oops. So I tried to fly under the radar for most of my drum corps career, and just do my job and enjoy around me. My bus partners were my friends that year and all that kind of stuff. But we happened to be on second tour in Boston, Massachusetts, and I don't know if it was the U.S. or it was an open or if it was the Bean Pod. I'm not
Yeah,
sure which show it was, but
unshare the pic.
all right,
You get,
there we go.
yeah,
And
awesome pic, awesome.
so we did great. I remember doing great in prelims. We came out in finals and we were a little bit, I think, flat maybe, or something, and we just didn't have the show that we wanted. I didn't have a good show. I'm looking back on that, and I think I actually stumbled over a tuft of grass or something, but I was really bummed out and just sad. And so I sat down on a curb on the street. So all the drum corps have their equipment trucks, and there's this street that goes by. I'm sitting on the curb. I have my horn with me, and I'm just miserable and sad and beating myself up. And a couple of corps passed by, and I heard a cadence, and I looked up, and it's North Star is coming this way, and they were relatively large at the time, full 128, and I'm thinking I need to move my horn so it doesn't get run over or something. So I moved my horn. I'm trying to find a place to lay down. I turn back around this way, and I get KO'd by a North Star set of triples. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
the bottom of it, I mean, actually smacked me, and I went over, and it was pretty painful. And at that point in time, I was actually shedding some tears.
Do you think that
And
the tenor player may have been intentional or was it accidental?
um, I I think he knew I was there, and I think that he probably didn't mean to hurt me in the way he did, but I think we beat him in prelims, so I think
Yeah.
maybe he was irritated about that, but he didn't. None of them stopped; they just kept going. And and but there was another skywriter came by and saw what happened, and came over, and to make that long story short, George took me to the hospital
Yeah.
in that brown staff van, and they looked at me and said I hadn't broken anything. I literally just sprained my neck. I bruised it up and sprained it, and they gave me that cool neck brace, right, and said you need to wear this for the next couple of weeks, whenever you're not playing in a show.
And
And
folks, let me tell you something. To see Jay warming up in the horn arc with that neck brace, he stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, he just did. That's why I never forgot this. But I never forgot that image of you in the neck brace. But go on.
but it got through that. But cool things happen in bad situations sometimes. And because I had to lay out a show, okay, I had several neat things. One was I got to see the Skywriters, from a different standpoint that I hadn't seen since 1978, probably,
Yeah,
and that was us performing in uniform.
yeah.
And I was just blown away by that. A second thing that I will never forget was, um, gosh, Milt Allen, the drum major, and Craig Colder, a good friend of mine to this day, a good friend of mine. said to me after practice, said, "Hey, want to go hang out with us? There's a McDonald's just up the hill from the school. Let's go to McDonald's." And at the time, you could eat McDonald's for $2, I think, or something really inexpensive. So I walked up the hill with those guys, and they were just cutting up, having a great time. We talked about, Milt's desire as an educator and going to North Texas and all those kind of things, and um, just got to know them so well. It was an experience of Milt I'd never had. Just to chat, he wasn't the drum major at this point; he was just Milt Allen, right?
Yeah.
And it meant everything to me. And we talked about stuff. We even made a notorious tape, which shall remain nameless at this point, cassette tape that got played that evening. But it was just an opportunity to get to know him. And I guess finally, one of the great experiences for me was I got to spend an entire day with the core mom, Grandma Janner.
Oh yeah.
And so we were in Montreal. We just finished in finals, sixth in horns, but not top 12 in anything else. And it was tough. It was, if I remember right, that day was really, really hot. Even in, when we went off the line in the, I think, late morning, hot and humid. And we walked around Old Town Montreal. She and I did, and just chatted about life, and went into a little cafe, little French cafe. And she said, we'll get what you want. I'll get it for you." And so Grandma Jenner goes up, and they didn't speak any English, or relatively little English. I'm in my neck brace and like this, and we got a piece of apple pie and a Coke in a bottle. And he goes, where are you from? Very broken. And I said, "Texas." And he says, "Oh my goodness, cowboys, bang, bang, Indians, bang, bang." And, I look at that, and I look back on that episode, and I hated not marching in the show, that one show, but I had a chance to really get to know some people who I love, to this day, love dearly. And, so, when life gives you lemons, man, you got to make lemonade. That's all I can say.
That's incredible. I never knew these stories, and it's I hear these stories. I think to myself, wow, there was almost an advantage of being in a neck brace, because you had exclusive access to these incredible folks. I mean, nobody else had exclusive access, unless George Tuthill did, of course, but the management. But yeah, to have had this, and to have your neck brace, and to really allowed is not the word, but I can't think of another word, to have these other experiences that no one else would ever think of.
Oh my gosh. But it was, I just goes to bear out, I think, that we are family, and they took care of me.
Yeah.
And the whole issue of perseverance. I mean, they made me not march one show, but they couldn't stop me from marching the rest. There was just no way. It was just one of those experiences in drum corps that I'll never forget, that again made me into the person who I am today.
Yeah. Incredible story. And I really like the Texas bang bang. It goes to show you that people stereotype everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh yeah.
it's not the first time I've heard that, but I think the reason I laugh is because I can totally see that happening. I've been to places in Europe and had similar reactions. Like, "Oh, do you have a gun?" I'm like, "No, I don't have a gun." Stuff like that.
Well, I look back on that, and although I marched in '83 as well, and we made finals in '83. '81 was probably the best summer of my life up to that point, right?
Yeah.
And definitely one of my best drum corps summers, just because I learned so much about myself, and that I did have the resilience to overcome, and I did learn how to play Overture to the Royal Mongolian Foosball Festival.
Oh,
and
that's my number one favorite chart that I played in drum corps.
Oh yeah, and it was just magical.
Absolutely.
Even the injury by the North Star drummer, I probably should find him and look him up and get my picture taken with him or something.
In a weird way, well, like you said, life throws you a lemon, you make lemonade, and you clearly did. Thanks,
Uh,
Jay. That's an incredible story. It really is.
you bet, my friend. You bet.
All right. Thanks.